What is up, everybody? Logan here again with another video coming right at you. And today I changed my background from Jabba the Hutt to like this space thing. Trading's been out of this world this week, right? So let's go over today's trading day. And I want to make this video on why I didn't trade today because I think it's as important for you guys to know. Now, of course, it isn't as glamorous, but it's important to know when to trade and when not to trade. And I think a big factor comes down to your emotions and also if the market's emotional as well. Because, if you're feeling FOMO, right, just as an example, this morning, right, if you shorted out of the gate, you got steamrolled. If you felt like you had to continue to short the market because you thought we were going to do what we did last CPI, which was drop another 2% after already being down 2%, you got steamrolled, right? Today was a really, really crazy day. And we'll get into the charts to go in depth on that. But I do want to take you guys step by step on why the criteria was broken. Although, like the short leg, if we took a PCS right in the morning, was a fantastic trade. But you also have to look at the market conditions and where we were on the trading field, and also take a look at the expected move and see what else could possibly happen, as we were testing it and breaking out of it that early in the morning off of the CPI data. So let's do that. But first, this is what we traded off. Well, of course I didn't trade today, but this is what, if you did trade today, this is what you would have traded off, right? EM low 34.96. We actually got down to that. And the EM high, which we actually broke through, and I'm pretty sure we closed above as well. So the 2x EM low did not get tested, and there was premium there in the morning. And the 2x EM high did not get tested, but there was really never any premium. I think maybe 5 or 10 cents. And we've talked about it that, a 10-cent credit after commissions and fees, like you can't even close that thing. You would be forced to hold it into expiration, and it's really just not worth the risk. That is like the definition of just, if something went against you, what's the point of risking $1,000 to make, 20 bucks or even like 14 after commissions or whatever, right? Like 14, 15 bucks. So let's jump right into this one, get a little bit more in depth. First, though, I do want to thank you guys. The channel's been growing since the last video. Look at this, the views are up tremendously, like way over what's typical. I appreciate all the Apple emojis. Can we get an earth emoji because we got the background, right? Find an earth emoji that you like. If you want to support the channel and the algorithm and you like these videos, you want to see them coming. Because I think my next thing from here, and definitely leave your opinion on this, but I would love to make videos a couple days throughout the week projecting and showing you guys what the next day expected move is and what my thought process on trading that next day would be, or what yours could be, right? We could take a look at the EM from the day before, and I continue to go over these trades and show you guys what we do. But let's now, if you guys haven't yet, leave a like, leave a comment, do the earth emoji, and then please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let's try to get to 11K by the end of the month. You guys think we could do that? I think we can. I appreciate all the support as always. So the first thing I want to jump into is the 0 DTE checklist and the expected move math, right? 81 points on the expected move. We're going to pull up the whiteboard. Okay, so EM of 81, right? Oh, that's pretty big. I think we'll keep it though. So we're going to do that first, which is just EM 81. We're taking you guys back to third grade real quick. EM 81 will make that big. And then we're going to go to the last closes, right? So 35.77. Let's hop back over here. So the EM low and high would then be 34.96, right? Because that was the math that we're doing. You basically just add or subtract this 81 right here. And then that would give you that lower high, right? So like going upwards, it would be testing the high side, right? And then going down, it would be testing the low side. And when the low side gets tested or the high side is when we either break out of it, but most of the time we stay within the expected move. Now today was an exception. And then we'll go to the TOS charts in a little bit to show you guys. But this is what's interesting is we actually started the day down here, right? And we got down to that 34, was that 34.90 area. Like I'll pull up SPX here. Yep. So right out of the gate this morning, down to 34.99, right down here. And we hop over to the EM info, right, from yesterday. 34.96 was the low. So that thing spot on, basically tested it, boom, used it as support. But also the EM, like the weekly EMs around 35.17. And generally that doesn't get broken either. And it bounced right off, of course. And we went to the freaking moon. Yeah. And you guys can see here, we closed up 92 points, which was exactly 11 points over the expected move. So we did break out of it, but we did not break it by too much. And you guys could see here are your possible entries where, you know, a 3% down entry would have been fantastic, but it's CPI, right? So you don't know. And we were seeing ticks when it got to like right around here in the day, this 11:30, 11:40, the tick chart was going nuts. The ADD was jumping all around, and we were seeing like 4 to 5 point moves every couple of seconds. Like that's how crazy the volatility was today. So coming back to the whiteboard, we did start down. We had a big gap down by open, right? So then we did end up going to fill that gap, but that's what you'll see. So I'll draw this. We were like down, testing this bottom EM spot, right? And then the market decided to take off for the rest of the day. And let's say we'll draw a red line here for the lower EM, which it never tested. So it got very close to it, right? You guys like my drawing skills? Hopefully it's doing good. And then we'll actually throw this above because it did actually break out of it. And the rest of the trading day basically, which will make this part green now, went up, chopped down a little bit, and then was just to the moon. And we actually spent a lot of time way up here, way up in the nosebleeds. And then we did come down a little bit, as you guys can see here, towards the end of the day briefly, because we got up to that 36.85. And I mentioned that in the Discord that was a possibility. So EM did get broken today. So should we expect it to be broken tomorrow, right? That is on the 0DT checklist right down here. Did we exceed it yesterday? So that's something to be careful of. We did see the VIX basically hit that resistance, and we'll jump into the TOS charts in a second. We did have that gap down. We did fill that gap, and it just continued to ramp up. So today was a really interesting day if you did get steamrolled, but I didn't trade. So we are still 61 for 63, right? So we hop back over to this 81 expected move. It went down, tested the EM low basically, and then it did break out past the high, closed above the high by a little bit, not by a ton, right? Right over here, only 11 points, but it still broke it. So that's why I always tell you guys, if you're going to trade with the expected move, expect the expected move, expect the unexpected of the expected move getting broken sometimes, right? So something really curious, something to think about, I think, when it comes to trading with the expected move is just be super, super patient. And knowing that even when we were down here, because I had buddies that texted me today, hey, are you shortened? We're down 2%. This thing's going to topple down to 3. I said, not yet. You know, we're still within the expected move. Like there's nothing for me to do here. You know, not right now. There's no edge I have on the shorting side because we are going down towards the low. And then boom, they immediately got stopped out like 10 minutes later. And from then on, it was just to the moon. So little crazy day. We'll see how the market, see if we have some follow through off of this or not. Of course, it was a super hectic day, a 4.5% swing or something from the bottom to the top. So that's everything with the whiteboard. Just wanted to show you guys, like you're in 3rd grade. If you had no idea what I was talking about, basically we went down. This is the EM low. This is the EM high. We didn't break the low. We tested it, chopped up, but we did break the high. It would be terrible to short down here, and it would be terrible to go long up here. Once you break the expected move one way or the other, I am off. Like my positions are out. I'm not doing anything. If I don't have one on, I'm not gonna like go long when we're already breaking past it, right? Because that's how a lot of people get FOMO into things, because it's just when something goes straight up, they feel like they got to get in. So that's everything for the whiteboard. Break out of that. We're going to close SPX. We're going to hop over to Thinkorswim, and then after that, we'll go over tomorrow's expected move, and that'll be the video. So now that we're on the TOS charts, you guys know I love my 10-day, 30-minute chart, and we had gap down off the open. We did end up filling that gap, breaking back through all the moving averages, and that's what had me a little like cautious, and why I didn't go long this morning is because generally when you see minus 2000 ADD mixed with underneath the moving averages, right? Even though the VIX wasn't increasing much more, right? We'll pull back here. You guys can see we basically bounced off that same resistance and then it chopped down. As a trader and with the tick charts showing you all of this heavy selling all morning, like that's heavy selling, right? Anything under 700 on the ticks. So that combination, just I didn't see a long setup there. I figured maybe we butt up and go test this again if we got back to the moving averages. But what if we just sold that off immediately and then boom, get tested, right? So there really was nowhere that I found a crazy good value, especially with how volatile today was, with how much chop and squeeze we've had setting up lately. We expected to see a big move, right? So that was one reason I don't like when the ADD is minus 3,000 area, minus 2,000, you know, anything really under minus 1,000 is pretty significant selling. So there really just wasn't a setup there, right? Seeing this, you know, this could have failed. This candle right here after this one selling down could have just failed and ran down the rest of the day. So just a lot of volatility, a very emotional market. So there just wasn't a setup today. And granted, I did mention in the Discord, 3682 is my level to watch. So yeah, anything over 3,700 would have been probably pretty fine. But you never know, right? Like this was at 11:30 and there's still a lot of market left after this. This looks like a pretty bullish signal here. And I could see us running to 3760 from here. And then if we do hop over to my other chart that I really liked, the 15-day, 10-minute, just wanted to show you guys TOS really quick. This was like kind of an all-star setup in the short-term time frames though that I missed. And it was, we're coming down to that 2.5 times outside the expected move. Generally, we don't go underneath that. So yeah, that was probably a pretty good spot to go long. But just overall, super emotional day for a lot of people, a lot of traders. And there's just sometimes the setup is so hard to see, right? Where you would think we would revert back to the moving averages. Sometimes we do, but then we'd break it and come back down. And then you're sitting in a trade without a great setup. And it's just tough when you don't have a thesis for being in besides, I felt like it, Logan. Like, I know you told me not to do this, but I felt like it. But we did look good as well over here on this 90-day 1 hour, which is another one of my favorite charts. We got up to the nosebleeds, 43.25, sold down. And I think this is a solid spot for if we can break out this resistance to head back to 3,800 or so. Just using these charts, right? Like, and even down here on the daily chart, I mean, we're down to the bottom of, you know, we got into the 3,400s, right? And then bounced off, headed back up. So I could see us trying to make a next little bull push from here because this was a pretty solid reversal day. And if we can get above these moving averages, I think there's a lot of upside. Let's go back to the EM and we'll talk about tomorrow's expected move and what I look for potential trades. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to take a look, expected move 59. So tomorrow I'm going to be looking for a gap up or a gap down, right? That's the first thing we look for. And then we're going to see if we get any decent premium over the EM high or the EM low. I'm assuming tomorrow's going to be green. That's just what I think based on the price action today. But we did close into some decent resistance levels too. But that's my thoughts here. This is the EM for tomorrow, 59 with the close around 36.70. So I'll be taking a look at the EM low, EM high tomorrow and trying to get on top of something quickly tomorrow and see if we can find some good value. But that's going to be everything for me in this video. I hope you guys learned why I don't take a trade. Just when you don't see a setup, there's no reason to force it. You got to just keep your emotions calm, keep your FOMO down, because the fear of losing money is just as scary as the fear of missing out, right? Because there's just so much emotional turmoil around greed and fear that it's very difficult to admit you're wrong when you have FOMO, right? because you feel it, right? You feel that this was the right thing to do, and when it's not going the way you expected, you start to get even more emotional. So you just have to be very patient on the setups. If you don't get them, sometimes you miss them. Even when you have one, you just don't get in time, and that's just how it goes. So I hope you guys appreciated this video. Please leave a like if you haven't already. And if you guys want to come join the Discord, the link is below to trade with us. And I will see you guys in the next video.